The Tri-C Jazz Fest is proud to recognize 5 distinguished people with the 2026 Jazz Legend Award. Cindy Barber wanted to do something to revitalize her neighborhood, and from this arose the Beachland Ballroom. And for the last 26 years, Cindy and her partner Mark Letty have worked tirelessly to bring the best in music to this legendary venue.
The Beachland opened in March of 2000. The third weekend, the White Stripes played in the tavern on the floor. We hadn't even built the stage yet, and they were staying at our house. That kind of a relationship was what we built the Beachland on. The challenges of running the Beachland started right away. When you lose $5,000 in one night over a show that you thought was going to do good and the tickets didn't sell, that can be painful. But when something kicks in and it's a magical night and you can feel it in the room, it's a musical church. Keeping it going, I think, for 26 years is a huge accomplishment. We're trying to figure out now, who do we pass this on to? Because who is gonna possibly step up and love with the same depth that we do? And I still don't know the answer to that.
My name is Jim Zabo, and once again it is time for jazz.
Jim Zabo has been a jazz advocate for over 50 years. He was a co-founder of the influential Northeast Ohio Jazz Society, as well as being involved in the launch of the Tri-C Jazz Fest. But he's best known as the voice of jazz on radio station WRUW. He began his career as a naive 17-year-old student at Case Western Reserve University.
I came to this college and to this radio station in 1973. I owned 5 jazz records, that's all. And I played them first time I was on the air, that was it. But because the collection here at the station was so encompassing, it offered the opportunity for me to really dig in and start listening, and then turn that listening into something that I put on the radio. I want the Northeast Ohio jazz scene to expand. I take time out from my music and give a calendar of upcoming events. No one's appreciation of jazz should just be limited to listening to recorded music. You have to go out there live. You have to be a part of it. I've hosted down by the Cuyahoga on WRUW for 52 years, and as best we can tell, it is one of the longest running jazz radio programs in the world. And hopefully the Northeast Ohio and the world's jazz audience appreciates it.
Dominic Farinacci has achieved international acclaim as a musician. He's performed and recorded with the biggest names in the music world, and his journey began with his mother meeting an influential person in the jazz community.
She met Terry Pontremoli, and she said to Terry, you know, my son listens to Louis Armstrong. I don't know what's wrong with him, but I don't know what to do with him. And Terry said, you got to get him down to Tri-C. Without over-exaggerating the impact, I remember walking in and immediately feeling for the first time in my life like, this is where I belong. And Tri-C has been so important to me from since I was 13 until today. I met Wynton Marsalis through, playing in a Tri-C group. Got to play for him backstage. He invited me up to New York to play at Lincoln Center on PBS when I was 17 with Trombone Shorty and Brandon Lee. So Tommy LaPuma, I heard about him when I was a kid, and so it was always my dream to work with him in some capacity. We got to know each other, and then I remember standing on the corner of 44th and 8th Avenue in front of Birdland, and I got a call. Oh, it's Tommy LaPuma. And Tommy called. He's like, Tom, just heard you play on NPR, man. You sounded great. Let's do an album together. I'm like, my God, I almost dropped the phone, right? It was just such a magical experience on so many levels. Working in Tommy's building, with the students around, and that education aspect, it's hard to think of anything else of that magnitude that has happened. One of the most meaningful parts of my career is the work that I do at Tri-C on the educational side. And for me, that's really just a continuum. Tri-C means so much to me. I love for Terry Pontremoli, for Ernie Krivda, Steve Enos, and the whole faculty. That's a very special thing.
Mark Ribbons is known to many as the jazz preacher. He's currently the pastor of Avon Avenue Baptist Church in Cleveland. But for many years, he was a DJ for the popular jazz radio station 107.3 The Wave, where he preached the gospel of jazz.
The music itself was the most enjoyable thing about being on the Wave. I like giving people aha moments. I like introducing people to new music and new artists and different sounds. I'd been doing radio for about 15 years when I finally answered the calling to preach. There were some in the religious community that were like, how are you going to marry doing that jazz thing to your preaching? And there was a pastor invited me to preach one time. And when he introduced me, he talked about the Wave, and it was crickets. And he says, you guys can pretend you don't listen to that good music. I do. And that kind of helped break it open. But it turned out to be a really easy thing because there's a jazz in preaching, there's a rhythm, there's almost a musicality in the preaching and the giving of the word. And both involve, enlightening people, giving them something that will warm their hearts and fill their spirits.
Terry Pontremoli is synonymous with the Tri-C JazzFest. For over 25 years, she nurtured and developed the festival into a national presence. She's received numerous recognitions, including the prestigious Downbeat magazine Lifetime Achievement Award. Terry's passion for music and the arts began at an early age.
I was always exposed to music. My sister played piano, and she started playing first, and then when I got to be old enough to take an instrument, they said, like the violin, how's that sound? And I said, good. So I started playing the violin. My sister and I played together for a long time. We recorded, we did recitals together. And I spent a lot of my years teaching violin and playing in orchestra pits for people like Tony Bennett, for Aretha Franklin, for all kinds of things like that, and also Broadway shows, as well as opera and ballet. I did this for many years, and by the time I hit 40, I said, I want to do something else. I went to some counseling, and they said, you'd probably be really good at arts administration. I had never even turned on a computer at this point, but I pursued that. I called the school because I knew about the JazzFest. And I just was so interested in what I could possibly do here. And Max Dane had just started working here, and he gave me my first shot. Before I knew it, I was writing grants, I was making corporate presentations. It's just like I dove in, and I never looked back. We were raising money, we were growing and expanding the JazzFest. The 90s were a really great time. It was about education. We raised enough money on our jazz fests in the early days that we actually paid for the faculty to teach kids at the college level. And then we started getting more serious and reaching kids at the high school and junior high level, which then they can develop into real musicians. That's how we got Dominic. He's the perfect visionary for what this program can be. And the kids actually teach their parents. It's audience development for the art form, so it works in so many powerful ways. I think our education thing is super important, and I'm very proud of it. Getting to know Tommy LaPuma and nursing a relationship here with him that brought him back to his old city, which he didn't always have the most positive feeling about, was one of the most rewarding, wonderful things that I have been a part of. And I really am thankful because it changed so much. It made so many other things possible. Tommy had so many connections, and I just felt like it was like being part of a cool club to know Tommy. And he was really genuinely honored at the idea of a building in Cleveland having his name on it. I just feel like that's a holy space over there. Every time I walk into that space, I think of Tommy.
Terry has increased the JazzFest brand, so it is the flagship jazz event here in Northeast Ohio.
She's a human dynamo. She's got energy on energy to really get things done, but she cares.
Terry Pontremoli is one of the most special people in my life. She introduced me to Tri-C when I was just 13 years old. She is such a joyful human being to be around, and her joy is infectious, right? She's one of those people who make the people around her better. I love Terry.
When I look back at JazzFest, I think what I feel most proud about is that we were able to grow it, and in the education side of it, for sure, we were really able to make a difference. Success is being able to make a living doing something you love. What more do you need than that?